if you want the downpour of divine grace, then you have to create a vacuum in your heart. This is the vacuum of detachment. We people say, dono haath mein laddu. I want all my worldly attachments to remain intact, and I also want God to grace me with divine love. God says this will not happen. But remember, He is not saying you run away from the world. He is saying take the world out from inside of you. It is always and always only the mind which is the cause of bondage and liberation. He says such saintly persons, first of all, they create a divine vacuum within themselves. How do you pump up the water? You have to create a vacuum. So likewise, if you want the downpour of divine grace, then you have to create a vacuum in your heart. This is the vacuum of detachment. If you want the grace of God to come, then detach yourself. We people say, dono haath mein laddu. I want all my worldly attachments to remain intact, and I also want God to grace me with divine love. God says this will not happen. You will have to create that vacuum. But remember, He is not saying you run away from the world. He is saying take the world out from inside of you. The world per se is not bad. Our attachment to it is causing the problem. We have the world on the outside and the world inside of us. So our illusion is the world on the outside is disturbing me. It is my relatives who are the cause of my BP going out, etc. And it is always the outside world. Why are you so tense and anxious? It is because of him, because of her, because of this, because of that. But the Bhagavad Gita says, no, it is all inside you. Your own tension caused because of attachment. And attachment is leading to expectations and then disappointments. The saints are also in the same world and they are not experiencing any tension. It's not that they are living on a colony in Mars. They are also living in the same world. And yet, they are free from anxiety. Once, one king, he had a guru who used to live in the forest. So the king, motivated by desire to serve, went to the guru and then offered him a silver plate. And to honor the disciples' seva bhav, the guru started eating from the silver plate. Then the king thought, he's my guru. He should drive around in a good car. So he presented him with a nice car. And slowly the possessions started increasing. Until finally he made a palace for the guru, just like he had for himself. So the guru now was living in a palace just like the king was. All the opulence everywhere. The doubt entered the king's mind. The king said, Gurudev, now there is no difference between you and me. Because I am living in luxury and so are you. It's a genuine doubt. Many people have that doubt. So, the Guruji, he smiled. He told his disciple, Beta, let's take a walk in the forest. The king said, all right. They started walking in the forest. They went for an hour. The king said, Guruji, when will we turn around? Let's continue walking a little further. They continued walking. After half an hour, the king said, Guruji, are we going to turn around? The Guru said, what is the hurry? Let's keep walking. They walked another 1 hour. Now the king was getting really anxious. He said, Gurudev, are we not going to get back? The Guru said, what is the need for getting back? Let us live out here in the jungle. The king said, Guruji, how is that possible? I've got my queen, I've got my children, I've got my dog, etc., everything. Guru said, Beta, that is the difference between you and me. You said there is no difference between you and me. We are both living in the same palace. That is the difference. For me, there is no difference between the palace and the jungle, because I have no attachment. Wherever the Lord wants me to be, I will be. You presented me all these things, and to respect, to strengthen your seva bhav, I accepted them. But it doesn't mean that it has affected my attachment, my detachment in any way. So, the internal state is what the Bhagavad Gita is talking about. And so many people in the world, they miss out on this point. Otherwise, the animals are more renounced than us. Is it not? The monkeys live on the trees. They don't sleep in luxury beds. The goats eat only leaves. The donkey puts ashes all over itself. The snake, it stays alive for so many days merely on the air. If external renunciation could result in God realization, all these animals would have achieved God. But it is always and always only the mind which is the cause of bondage and liberation. So when the mind is detached and their intellect is established in divine knowledge. Now Sri Krishna says they are doing every work as an act of sacrifice to the Supreme. So this is the seva bhav, the act of sacrifice. Then what becomes their consciousness? Such saints develop a divine vision. We all know there is one God, there is the soul, and there is the material energy Maya, from which the objects of the world have been made. Now, different philosophers have had their take on how to view the world. As per Shankaracharya, the world is mithya. It is non-existent. Why? Because he was intent on establishing Advaita, non-duality. So his non-duality required the absence of a dual entity. If he accepted there is God and there is also Maya, there would be duality. So Shankaracharya said Maya is mere illusion. It is not actually existent, it is a mere illusion. Until you are God realized, Shankaracharya said, you will experience the world. And once you are God realized, the world will cease to exist. But the Vaishnava Acharyas, they did not accept this theory. They said, according to the Vedas, God is all pervading in this world. Sab ghat mera saiya, khali ghat nahi koya, balihari va ghat ki ja ghat par ghat hoya. God is everywhere. So if he is everywhere, then how can you say this world is an illusion? He is residing in every atom of his creation. And the Vedic culture has got the story of Nrisingh Bhagavan. God took avatar from the pillar of a palace. He showed, I am even in the stone pillar. There is no place where I don't reside. And hence, when Ram, he went to Maharshi Valmiki, he offered his pranam and said, Gurudev, I have 14 years to spend in the forest. Can you please guide me what would be a good place to stay? Valmiki said, Ram, who can understand your leelas? You are all knowing and you are asking me for advice. You are saying, where should I reside in this forest? I will definitely answer your question. But before that, you answer my question. Where in this forest do you not reside? पूछे मोहि कि रहा कहाँ, मैं पूछत सकुचाऊं, जहाँ न हो तह देहु के ही, तुम ही दिखावा ठाऊं. You are the all-powerful God, O Ram. You are sitting in everybody's hearts, O Ram. And you exist in every atom of your creation. So you tell me which place in this forest is devoid of you. Then I'll tell you that, okay, now you reside in this place. There is this competition, of couplets that took place between some very famous Urdu poets in Indian history. It was started off by Mirza Ghalib when he said, Peene de saki, masjid mein sharab, ya wo jagah bata jahan khuda na ho. He said, let me drink in the masjid. Otherwise, tell me that place where there is no Khuda. Why are you banning me from drinking in the masjid? So after Mirza Ghalib came another great Urdu poet, Allama Iqbal. He countered Mirza Ghalib. He said, masjid Khuda ka ghar hai. शराब पीने की जगह नहीं. काफिर के दिल में जा, वहां खुदा नहीं. Say, masjid is the house of Khuda, not a place to drink. You go to the heart of the kafir, the atheist. There is no Khuda there. And then he was followed by Faraz, the third poet. So Faraz answered, he countered Allama Iqbal. He said, काफिर के दिल से आया हूं मैं यह देखकर फराज, खुदा वहां मौजूद है पर उसे पता नहीं. I have gone to the heart of the atheist and checked it out. Khuda is there as well, but he doesn't know. So the Vedas say God is everywhere. So this world, the Vaishnava Acharya said, is not mithya. It is the energy of God. And we souls are also the energy of God. Now the energy has its unity with the energetic. Like if there's a fire burning, its energies are the heat and the light. This heat and light are one with the fire. Because the energy and energetic have that unity amongst them. But they are also different from the fire. You can, relish the heat. But that doesn't mean you'll go and sit down in the fire. So the fire is the fire and the heat is the heat. Likewise, the supreme energetic is God. And he has this material energy from which the world is made, which is not different from him, and hence one with him. And we souls, we are also his energy, and hence we also have our oneness with him. Doesn't mean we are God, but we are still one with him. So, this all of creation is pervaded by the energies of God. The Narad Pancharatra states, Ekadesha sthitasyagnir jyotsna vistarani yatha parasya brahmana shaktis tathedam akhilan jagat. Like the one sun pervades the entire 8 planetary solar system, by its energies. Similarly, the one supreme divine entity, by his infinite energies, pervades all of creation. So this creation is one with God. That is also right. Hence the Bhagavatam says, Ahameva samevagre nanyadyat sadasat param paschadaham yadetacha yova shishyeta sosmyaham. This is the first verse of the Chatushloki Bhagavat. He says, Brahmaji, everything that exists in creation is a manifestation of me. Where creation ceases to exist, now become a little philosophic. Where creation ceases to exist, then what exists? The Lord says, I alone exist. When there was no creation, I alone existed. When creation will be dissolved, I alone will remain. There is nothing apart from me. So this is the unity of everything with God. Now, people look on the world in different levels of consciousness. There is the bhogi consciousness. These are all objects for my proprietorship and enjoyment. And then there is a higher consciousness, that everybody is respect worthy. Everybody is divine and worthy of respect. And then there is a higher consciousness, where you see God sitting in everyone. So the saint sees God is in so and so, God is in so and so, God is in so and so. Hanumanji is saying, right? Siya Ramamay Sabajagajani. Now, the higher consciousness, everyone is a part of God. And the highest consciousness, Mahabhagavat consciousness, those who are at the Mahabhagavat stage, they actually see God in everyone. So what Hanumanji is saying is that I am seeing Sitaram in everyone. So Sarva Bhuteshu Yah Pashyed Bhagavad Bhavamatmana Bhutani Bhagavatyatmanyesha Bhagavatottama. Bhagavatottam will see the whole world as divine. But such a person can never preach. If he's seeing as divine, he can't give lectures to God. So even the Mahabhagavats, they come down a little in case they wish to preach. That is why in the Bhagavatam, Vedavyas was a Hans and Shukadev was a Paramahans. So Paramahans is one who sees God everywhere. And Hans is one who sees that this is Maya and this is God, and I will grasp God and leave out Maya. And the highest level of saints, they only see God. So that consciousness is what he's saying, but then he says, wait, not everybody is at that consciousness, and so people will engage in different levels of sacrifice, which he is going to describe next.